So the iPhone 14 will be released in just a few weeks, and you might be considering still the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which I have right here. And as you see, it is still a beautiful device, but should you wait for the new iPhone 14 Pro Max or just get the old 13 Pro Max? What is happening, guys? Gary Jahman here, back at it again with a new video. Hope you're doing well, hope you're safe and happy. So in this video, we're going to talk about this iPhone 13 Pro Max, whether or not you should buy it, even though the iPhone 14 will be released in just a few weeks. But you know, you might be considering because you might think that this may be just a little bit cheaper or more between bracket budget friendly, or you just simply don't see why you should get the 14 if the specs are not that different, right? But before we're going to jump into that, we're going to talk about the phone itself and my experience with it. Keep in mind that my reviews are not very in-depth, but more or less a user experience type of review. So let's begin with the build quality and the design. It feels really good in the hand, but also very sturdy. I even don't have a case for it because I simply feel like it is strong enough already. Of course, if I should drop it on a concrete floor or on a brick floor or something, you know, then it will definitely break, but it will also break with a case. Well, maybe not as fast, right? So I think build quality is really nice. Doesn't have any scratches so far, but still I think that in general it has a really good build quality. As for the design, I think, you know, it is a really big phone, of course, but I'm used to having big things in my hands. With Android phones, they are usually a little bit like smaller in terms of the wideness or broadness of the phone itself, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is a little bit on the broader side of things, so you have to almost always use two hands in order to type on it instead of using it one-handed, right? So that's the only like design between brackets design flaw that I think there is. I have to say the design is really nice. It doesn't matter where you put it, it looks really great, right? It looks very photogenic. It just looked really good if you were supposed to take a photo of it, right? So design wise and build quality wise, it is really top notch on that level, on that premium level. Also the price is very premium, of course. We still don't have the USB-C, by the way. Also, I don't think with the 14 we don't have USB-C, but all other usual suspects are there, such as the volume rockers, the silent mode switch. By the way, my apologies for the sound. There is some constructors working, so you might hear a little bit of noise in the background, but hopefully it will be just okay. So let's talk about the next chapter, and that is the performance of this iPhone 13 Pro Max. With performance, I mean just by opening apps and stuff like that, and also the battery performance, right? So I think the Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max has a really good performance in terms of opening apps and working with apps, editing photos and videos, the things that I do with it, right? Photo editing, video editing on the Apple iPhone device. And it works really good. It works really well, flawlessly. I do have to mention that it does get a little bit warm sometimes, a little bit on the warmer side, but never really extremely hot. But you know, that's something that you might have to think about. But if you have a very thick case, you don't have that type of feeling, of that warm feeling, right? But for me, because I don't use a case, you will definitely feel some type of warmth on the back of the phone. In terms of just opening apps and working with it, as you see here, it just goes very fluently without no hesitations. As for the battery performance, when I'm doing all those things, right? So taking photos, taking videos, doing photo editing, video editing, watching things online, social media and stuff, you know, a lot of online content, Netflix, etc., etc. At the end of the day, it will last you, at least for me, roughly between 15 and 20% each and every day when I do those things. But when I don't do all of those things, you can easily get 50% at the end of the day. So battery performance is really good. So in general, let's go back to the question again. What about the performance? The performance is really good on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. No hesitations whatsoever, it's really good. By the way, I totally forgot to talk about the screen. The screen itself is really good as well. It has that ProMotion, so-called ProMotion, 120 hertz, but it's not like static 120 hertz, it's like variable. but the screen itself in broad daylight, like in real summer days with the sun directly on it, you can still easily see your stuff on the screen. So the screen gets really bright and is really good and fluent as well. So top notch, and also the colors and stuff like that. No hesitations, no negative things to say about the screen. Of course the notch is there, but who cares really about the notch, right? Let's be honest. Let's talk about the final thing, and that's the cameras, of course, right? We have to talk about the cameras, of course. In this section, we're gonna divide it to photo and video, and let's talk about photo. With photos, as you see here, things are looking really pleasant. I think that's the best word for iPhone shots. It just looks very pleasant. It may not be like natural or true to life, but sure looks very pleasant and very pleasing for, especially for a lot of people when they take a selfie, right? But more importantly, each and every photo that you take is very consistent and it always does what it needs to do, but also very quickly. If you take a photo, you can directly see what you've taken. With some phones, you have to wait a little bit. There's some type of lag and stuff. But in this iPhone 13 Pro Max, things go really smoothly and very like with no lag whatsoever. You can also shoot in RAW, which I personally like, and then you can edit the heck out of your photos, which is truly awesome. There is some kind of limitation, of course, if compared to a real professional camera, with the camera files that is, but still, having that extra option is still really good. I do wish that you can change the shutter speed and stuff like that, but you know, it is what it is. Night shots are looking really good as well. It's very easy as well. No real negative things about the photos. I do want to say that you do get those little points, those flaring stuff. But what can you expect from such a tiny sensor, right? All right, so now the video part of the cameras. I think video is where this phone really shines, right? You can easily take this type of setup and only use your phone with maybe an external microphone and you're good to go. You don't even need a computer to edit all those stuff, right? You can just do everything on your phone, which is truly amazing. It's truly mind-boggling. And as you see, it really looks good. 4K, 25 frames per second. I think it looks perfectly fine for these type of setups. You can do 4K up to 60 frames per second, but also slow motion up to 240 frames per second. And everything just looks really good, at least for the back cameras, right? There we got the ultra wide and also the telezoom, also a little bit of macro stuff, but in general, all those things look really good for all your social media content that you can just share with everybody, and it looks perfectly fine. But I do want to mention that the front facing camera is not as good as the back cameras, right? There is some kind of image quality loss there, but in general, it's also really good still for photo and video. But for video, it really shines. It's really nice to have that option to take your phone everywhere with you, that you don't need to bring your professional camera with you all the time, right? So that is the best part. And I think nowadays with social media, everybody wants to take video instead of photo. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is definitely one of the best mobile phones to use for those type of stuff, for that type of content, right? So with that being said, we got all those things. We talked about the camera, the battery performance, the software performance, build quality, and the design. Then we come back to the main question, that is, should you then upgrade to the 14 Pro Max or just choose the 13 Pro Max? Well, here it really depends, right? It really depends when we know more about the 14 Pro Max. Does it have a better camera? Does it have a better screen? Does it have better battery performance, etc, etc? How much better is it if compared to the 13 Pro Max? If it's like a little bit better, then the 13 Pro Max will be still a really good phone. But if it was me, for instance, what I've heard about the rumors is that the 14 Pro Max at least will have a better camera if compared to the 13 Pro Max. And for me as a content creator, but also I take a lot of photos and videos, I think that's really important for me, and that's why I'm picking the iPhone 14 Pro Max, right? So that's my advice to you. But if you're considering the 13 Pro Max still, be aware that this price will also be a little bit lower, so that will be very convenient for your wallet, right? Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you again for watching. Subscribe to the channel if not already. Let me know in the comment section down below what you're going to pick, the iPhone 14 Pro Max or the iPhone 13 Pro Max. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck.